Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The World Championship is just over 1 week away and so many storylines in the off-season are going to be determined by what happens in Las Vegas. Octane has given his thoughts on the OpTic Prid situation, saying that he actually hopes it doesn't happen, although the implication here is that he believes it is actually rather likely based on what is currently happening, especially with Huke going 0-10 last night in a map of Search to Destroy 8. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll just quickly on Doug actually, because I thought this was pretty remarkable. He's been training up for his attempt at the world record for pull-ups in 24 hours. He did 1,500 pull-ups yesterday in 5 hours. Day 2 of training. I think he's got to get some chalk or something, because even if he's wearing gloves and everything, like, you're still going to rip your hands up doing this. So anyway, he's going super hard to make this happen. Quickly as well, on a couple of other teams, have got new cards here coming out for the top 6 run that Florida had at the event. Kind of incredible actually, they went this far in some way. Obviously, they just won one series against OpTic Texas, right? But it was Capsidal with a 92 overall rating. And it's pretty impressive, I think, from Cap that he's achieved this at the end of the season. Just goes to show, like, I think ever since he came back in, I was pretty impressed by Cap. And I think that he definitely is a player that's shown that he could once again I think you even subbed in for Thieves, didn't he, right at the start of the season? Did a pretty good job. So I think that Cap, I hope that Cap at least is around in the league next year, because I think he's definitely a player that deserves consideration. Vikil, I believe, will stay, because if they do become the Miami Heretics, he is likely to be their, like, either 5th man or on their starting team. So that's as we presently understand it. The other guys, Bracken Fellow, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Fellow had a 0.6 in Search in Stage 5, which is pretty rough as well for him, but still, they did a respectable job at least. These were the numbers for Vegas. Not so pretty for Clay and TJ overall, and in fairness, TJ, despite being great in Search all season, didn't really materialize on the final stage, and I think that was what really held them back, right? And I'm sure Vegas will feel a little bit gutted about this, because there's a few series they could have won at the end of this season if their Search was just a bit better, right? Early in the year, they were like a top 2 Search team in the game behind FaZe. Their hardpoint got a lot better, 7-5 in Stage 5, 3-5 in Control is, you know, for Vegas, that's respectable enough, right? Okay, it's not a great win percentage. What is that? 37.5% win rate, but still, it's nearly enough 40%, and that's going to be good enough if your Search and Destroy is good, but unfortunately it wasn't. So I think that was where they will probably feel like they could have done a better job. Simp also locked in the record for the regular season on the kill streak. I think he got to 16 back on Hotel Control. Kind of crazy, because at the time, Simp would have like one good map every like 5 or 6 maps. Like, he wasn't particularly consistent at the time, but that particular map he was just absolutely frying. So yeah, maybe we see more of this at Champs, because Simp's record at Champs, it's got to be said, is so absurd you almost wouldn't believe it. I mean, we'll look at the numbers here in a second, but we're going to get into that. I do want to mention, I will share this clip in a couple of minutes time when I mention the other things on the Los Angeles Guerrillas situation. Arcitys saying that effectively he doesn't know what's going on. He signed a 2 + 1 year deal, I believe. So a 3-year contract, but the final year was like an optional extension from the team side. But it's, I believe, 2 years guaranteed. So this is the thing. Can that contract just be voided if Los Angeles Guerrillas no longer exist? Would they have to pay Arcitys out of said contract and buy him out of the contract for them to be able to do that? Who really knows? But according to Arcitys, he doesn't know what's going on. He's asked Los Angeles Guerrillas. They've told him, we don't know if we're even existing next year. We're certainly not going to tell you even if we did know, type thing. So yeah, this is a bit of a predicament, right, that LAG have to run through. We don't know if they're going to get bought out. We don't know whether they're going to still exist. I think the most likely scenario as it stands is that LAG still exists next year and just does a Paris Legion and just, you know, goes right to the bottom, pays absolutely nothing and tries to get away with it. But yeah, will Arcitys even be there, right? Spart was also signed on a 2 + 1, so they've got many questions to answer there internally. LA Guerrillas, though, not at the World Championship. One team that is OpTic Texas. They're on the final push, as Scump also used to call it. Shotzzy calls it the extra push. I believe he was streaming yesterday, because I think maybe OpTic took their day off yesterday, and usually they take it off on a different day. I don't know, they had to move some things around probably for content. Surprised there even is days off at this point, actually, leading up to Champs, but you know, whatever. I suppose they'll do what they feel is best for the roster. But big talking points going into this event. Is Ghosty going to be well again? We saw what Sensor had to say on that yesterday, that Ghosty's still feeling unwell. I'd imagine he's going to be fine by Champs. How much is that affecting their prep? Who knows? Is Huke 100% well again? Maybe, maybe not. We saw the other day that TJ said, if they need me to sub in, I'll absolutely do it, because TJ has some experience playing with these guys, obviously. But I don't believe would be able to play, just because he actually competed at Major 5, and therefore I think the rules say that you can't sign a guy like that to your team. So probably not not going to be happening, unfortunately. But he was playing last night in some S&D 8, and there were plenty of guys getting involved in this going into the World Championship mainly. Okay, Proluk was also in here, but most of these guys, TJ was in here, but most of these guys are actually competing at Champs. There were a few interesting results going down, one of which being Huke getting absolutely fried to an 0-10 performance on Mikado Search and Destroy, and Temp was roasting him as a result. You know, he had a bad map, he's going to get roasted. It is what it is, harkening back in some regard to the classic Temp clip where Saint Donato goes 15 in 46 or something on London Docks hardpoint back in, World War II 8. You guys probably know that clip if you've been around a while. You just got Kentucky fried, etc, etc. But also Octane's perspective on the OpTic Pred potential move, saying that it's been talked about for so long that he now doesn't want it to happen anymore. Maybe because he wants Pred on his own team.
I'm dealing with ESPN analyst there. Story. This just in. LAG camp is going berserk. Like, LAG going to be LAG next year? I don't know, bro. They haven't told me.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Honestly, I tried talking to them. They said they don't know yet. They don't know if what's going the plans for next year. So, I'm just saying that because I feel like I should have been told already. Like, should have already been addressed.
Here we go, man.
Come on, Kyler.
I think he might get 4 this round.
He needs to stop doing this, bro.
Oh.
Just get in.
Oh my God. Oh.
Okay, that's a blood.
He's gonna get one. He's gonna get one.
Come on, right here, Kyler.
Oh, he's going.
No.
0-10 is insane, bro. He's gotta get one this round. Wait, it's over.
over.
Oh my God, it's over. Oh,
Tough map, dude. It's all good. GG. Let's go,
What
Team
the-
Dashy.
Bro,
Let's go, Team Dashy.
he
GG.
Ew. God damn. Bro, why is he
I
crying?
just got Kentucky fire, bro.
Get a fucking kill.
That's the Mercado Psycho right there. He
Bro,
honestly
he's
wasn't even-
throwing nade. Bro, if he didn't throw a nade, could he not get in the building?
I got a pistol. Be right back.
That's just
Slow,
unlucky,
bro.
unlucky.
He's slow, bro.
It's just unlucky.
If you were an OpTic, would you choose to drop Huke for Pred? Dude, honestly, maybe it's because of I'm low-key an OpTic. I really hope that AG just doesn't go to OpTic. Could you imagine how funny that would be? People have been talking about this move for literal months, 6 months at this point. People have been talking about that. I hope he doesn't join and everyone loses their mind. That would be so fun. Oh my God, Brandon's tweaking. That would be so fun. Strictly just for entertainment purposes. It's not nothing malicious behind it whatsoever. Strictly for entertainment purposes, just to see what would happen on the internet. I hope AG just doesn't join. That would be so funny. People would lose their shit. They've been talking about this roster change for years. And if it didn't happen, oh my God.
It was kind of funny in a way, right? I mean, Huke can't even go 0-10 in an S&D map without Pred starting to get mentioned, but it's one of the big talking points going into Champs. Pred is going to be there. He's in the upper side of the bracket playing against FaZe. Didn't have the greatest stage by his standards, right? And we discussed, was it yesterday, that between aBeZy, Pred, and Hydra, you've probably got to drop Pred at the moment between those three. But still, is he a very consistent SMG slayer? Yes, he is. Would he be a good partner to Shotzzy? Theoretically, yes, he would. Would Huke be a good partner as well? Yes, we have seen it. Is he more inconsistent? Is he a little bit weaker on LAN? I would say probably yes. So these are the debates that are being had. If Huke performs great at Champs, then we shall see. But the lead up to Champs, okay, Dashy dropped 2,000 damage in that surge, but Huke did go 0-10. So, there's a bit of inconsistency for Huke, right? And you would think that going into Champs that maybe an 0-10 performance in an SD map of 8 isn't exactly the greatest sign. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but still, he was getting cooked and, wasn't having a good time on that particular map at the very least. Octane's perspective I thought was pretty interesting though, saying that it's been talked about by many OpTic fans and by just many fans in general for a long time that, they want to see this happen and OpTic Pred become a thing, and Huke obviously would be departing, I imagine, in that scenario. Should it happen? Octane says he doesn't want it to happen now, maybe just to annoy the OpTic fans that do want it to occur. But of course, if Pred wasn't to join OpTic, then he would be going somewhere, you would think, and presumably his top 3 targets are OpTic, Thieves, and FaZe. Now, I think 2 of those 3 teams will more than likely make changes. Maybe all of them, depending on what happens at the World Championship, if let's say Subliners or Toronto were to win again. But still, whichever one of those teams makes some serious changes, you'd think Pred will be targeting those guys. We saw the other day that he was kind of hinting that OpTic is still his preference, and you'd imagine that would be the preference because of content and other reasons. It makes sense for the OpTic side. But, you know, is there a world in which Pred could join Thieves? It would be interesting, right? Because, you know, they've got Kenny over there. I don't imagine Kenny's going to go anywhere. I can see Envoy leaving. Like, I can see a world in which, like, Envoy is back on OpTic next year, and then maybe Pred is at, like, Thieves or FaZe or something. I don't know. But maybe there's also part of Octane that thinks, you know what, if Pred joins OpTic, that's kind of scary for us and the rest of the league. So maybe better if he doesn't type thing. Who knows? But anyway, just speaking of the teams that are here, these are the tied teams for average COD Champs attendance for a CDL franchise. Vegas are at 10th, Los Angeles Guerrillas are at 12th, and then, you know, some of the other teams haven't really been there that often. But still, the number 1 team by so long is FaZe, right? I mean, a 1.67 average placing, so insane. Been in 3 finals and won 1 of them, lost 2 of them over the last 3 seasons. OpTic averaged a placing of 4.3, then Thieves at a 4.5, then Toronto, then London actually with the 5th highest average placing is kind of incredible. So you'd imagine that these teams will be able to step it up here. There are just, by the way, Los Angeles Guerrillas 12th because back in MW19, all the teams were there. So, you know, that's the only time. I'm pretty sure that's the only time Guerrillas were at an event was when there was all 12 teams got allowed, because it went online, it flip-flopped, and they said, you know what, all the teams can come along. We're going to do it online anyway. You might as well just spawn into the server. And they've still got 12, and they haven't qualified since then. So, bit of a shambles for them. Dashy will certainly be hoping to improve this record because, I mean, the numbers in his World Championship campaigns have never been particularly impressive. Never made a finals of a World Championship, actually 16th in 2017 and 2018. 2019, when he finally got to join OpTic, was 3rd, and then since then 6th on the OpTic Gaming Los Angeles team, but as a sub, you guys remember that storyline, and then 6th in Car War on OpTic Chicago, and then 4th last year. So definitely Dashy will be looking for improvement on this front, and I was hoping that we would eventually see some stats like this. So here we go. Going into the World Championship, 7 of the 10 winners placed top 2 at the tournament directly before. So this is going all the way back in the day. Farico Impact were 1st before they won champs. Cole was 2nd the tourney before they won champs. Denial was 2nd. Envy was 2nd. OpTic won the tourney before they won back in 2017. The big outlier is Evil Geniuses, who was 16th the tourney before they won. So that's the worst ever placing before an event, a World Championship victory. So OpTic's 12th place would definitely be there if they were to win it. E United won the playoffs and then champs. Dallas Empire came top 4, then won champs. FaZe were winning everything, but then got knocked out by Nicky D and came top 8 at Major 5 before winning champs anyway, and then Thieves went back to back. So in the vast majority of cases, excluding really EG, outside of that, like Dallas were, you know, top 3, top 4, pretty much, because back in Modern Warfare, it was just kind of like semi-finals, finals type things. There wasn't really a top 3 or top 4 situation. FaZe, again, okay, bit of an outlier. They were 8th before they won champs in 21, but still, like, they weren't really the 8th best team, were they, right? I mean, they were the best team, but they just had a bad tourney. So pretty much there's only one outlier here, I would say. Every other team has been very competitive at the previous tournaments. And of course, the top 2 teams at Major 5 this year were the New York Subliners and Atlanta FaZe. So does that give them a rather good chance of winning? Maybe it does, but if anyone else wins, then it will actually be quite the, outlier historically, especially compared to some of the results that we've seen here before. So very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.